Hi, today I'm going to take you through a quick tour of Ideal Analytics, which is a self-service business intelligence tool. For this demo, I'm going to use an account on our cloud. You can also have your own account on the cloud. All you need to do is register from the website. For today's demo, this is the account that I will be using. I sign in, and the first thing that I see is a help menu. This help shows me what are the steps that are required for analyzing my data. So this demo is going to be divided into 3 portions: connect, analyze, and share. First, we need to connect to the data. For that, we need to create a connector. Now, since in Ideal Analytics we can connect to different kinds of data sources, we have to choose one of the options. We can connect to a database, a file, which can be an Excel or a CSV. A latest feature, we can even connect to a Salesforce application. All we need to do is give the username, password, and a security token, which is provided by Salesforce itself. For this demo, we are going to use a file type connector. We are going to connect to an Excel file. I will give this file a name. Next, I need to browse and choose the file. Once I've selected the file, I need to save it. Now the application knows what is the source of the data. Next step is to tell the application what data exactly it has to pick up from this source. We need to choose the connector. Since it is an Excel file, all the sheets within this file are listed here. In case of a database, the metadata of the database, that is the table, the columns within the table, stored procedures, views, etc., will be listed in this Explorer. And all we need to do is write an SQL query here to extract the right data. In terms of an Excel file, I've selected this one sheet from which I want to pick up my data. I can see the preview of the data. The data that we are going to analyze today is a simple sales data. It lists the representatives along with the items sold by them, the color of the item sold, the number of units of the items sold, the regions in which these items were sold, and the date on which these items were sold. 60% of my task of connecting the data is complete. Now I am going to define my data. For that, I need to create a data set. For creating the data set, the first step is to choose the data source. Then I need to give it a name. Now I can select which all columns from the source data do I want in my application for analyzing. I can choose to bring all of them or some of them. Once I have chosen the columns, I can rearrange them. I can also change the name of these columns as I will see it during my analysis. Here I will define my dimensions and my facts. The application is intelligent enough to identify the dimensions and the facts based upon the data types of these columns in the source data. However, if I want to override any of these types, that can easily be done. I can also change the data type of my columns here. I can choose an operation for my facts. There is a concept called filters. I can either choose a column to be a filter or not. This is the place where I define my drill down logics. I can have as many drill down logics as I like to have. I can define another one. All I need to do is drag and drop these columns onto the drill down order. I can come back to this drill down while analyzing. There's another interesting feature present here, which is the calculated column. So for example, in this set of data, if I want to analyze this data month-wise, I cannot right now because the only column available to me is the date. What I can do is calculate a new column called month. For that, I can write either an expression or a JavaScript. I'll choose to write an expression because there are some predefined functions available to me that I can use to define this expression. All I need to do is double click on the function and choose the variable, and my expression is ready. Now I will define a new column, give it a name. The type and the data type suits me. I select the expression and I save this, and we see that another column has been added. I can choose to make it a filter. My work is done here. I am done connecting, so I can save this. Once I'm done saving my data set, now I need to load it into the application. This loading will pick the data from its source and put it within the application. So further processing will not affect the performance of the source dataset. Now this application is asynchronous in nature. So while this loading is happening, say for example you have a large dataset to load, you can continue using other aspects of the application, other features of the application. You can even log out or close down, and the task will complete itself and give you an alert whenever it is done. For example, now the dataset has loaded and we can start exploring it. So we have completed the connect portion, and now we will move on to analyzing. This is my explorer. These are my facts. These are my filters, and these are my dimensions. This chart here shows the number of units sold by each representative. Now, if I want to see the number of units sold for only the binder item, all I need to do is click on binders, and now the chart shows me only the sale of binders. And I can see that I have chosen a filter as binders. I can apply further filters. For example, I am only interested in the sale in the month of January. So I choose January, and this data that I am seeing is only for the month of January. I can see sale of binders in the month of January. Similarly, I can apply further filters. I am only interested in the sales of black colored binders in the month of January. So my chart changes, and simultaneously you will notice that all the data here in the filters has also changed. Similarly, the actual data you can see here in the table. You can sort this data, which will change the way your graph looks. You can choose to see a different fact here. For example, I am interested in seeing the total revenue earned from the sales of binders which are black in color in the month of January. So this is it. I want to analyze the units sold versus the revenue earned. So I add another fact here. Since this is a multi-fact analysis application, so now I can see both the facts here simultaneously. If this view is too small for me, I can adjust its size. If I want to see it further enlarged, I can maximize it. I can choose to see the data types. There's another very interesting feature which allows me to have my second fact as a line chart. I can choose to see effect of the drill down. For example, if I have chosen the rep wise drill down order, all I need to do is double click on Jill, and this will show me what are the different items that Jill has sold. But since we have filtered our data for binders, we see only binders here. I can click on Control and Binders, which will deselect this filter, and then these are the two items that have been sold by Jill in the month of January that were black in color. I can similarly drill up this order. For removing all the filters together, we need to do a reset. We saw multi-fact analysis. We can also do multi-dimension analysis. Here we can see representative versus the items, different items sold by each of the representatives. We can choose to see a different comparison. So now this shows the different colors that were sold by different representatives. I might want to see the hot colors in each region. I can see that since there is a filter here, I might want to remove it and see it across all the three regions. There you go. Like in the previous chart, I can expand this one, see the table, go back to the chart, see the data tips, choose to remove them, sort these charts. There's another view, that's the tabular view. I can see all my data here in the form of table. If I'm interested in different kinds of charts, that is readily available. Here we see the column chart. I can choose to see a contribution chart. The drill down works similarly. There are other kinds of charts as well, like the trend chart. So for example, we can see the trend across the dates. For that we might want to see this. You have your trend charts. Similarly, you have your correlation charts, your value slabs. There is something very interesting about the value slabs in this application. Since Ideal Analytics is a completely customizable application, we give you the freedom of defining your own value slabs, right from choosing the colors to the values. So instead of the date, let us choose some interesting dimension, maybe color wise. So here when we try to create the value slab, what I need to do is I say add a slab, and in terms of number of units sold across the different colors, say if my units sold is between 0 to 80, I call it poor and I give it a color red. If my sale is between 80 and 160, I call it good and I give it a color yellow. Similarly, for something that goes beyond maybe 280, I say it very good and I give it a color green. So having done this, I'll save this value slab, and now I can load it at any point in time. Like here I've loaded it. So now I'm just seeing one slab in my chart. I can see more number of data items. Since there are 3 colors, I can choose to see all 3 of them in one go. And there you see, you have created your own value slabs. Like the value slab, we also have target settings. So you can set targets for your representatives, for your regions, etc., and then monitor them. There's also something called saving your view. So if you reach a particular state by applying filters and sorting, etc., you can save that view. So even when the data changes, those filters remain. You can load that view at any point in time. Here there's something called calculation on aggregated columns. So like we calculated column on the transactional level data, we can calculate columns on these aggregated values. There is custom sorting available. So if you want to apply certain custom sorting orders on any of your or all of your dimensions, you can do that. There is sorting available right here in the filters, but that is by default alphanumeric. There's one very interesting feature here, which is, like you can see, manage auxiliary dimensions and mapping. This one here lets you bring in columns from different data sets into this current data set and analyze them. The only constraint is there should be a common column in the two data sets. With these features we can analyze, but what becomes all the more important is how do we share the output of our analysis. For that, there are several options available to us. Number one is export, using which I can extract immediately the current graph that I'm working on, the current data that I'm working on into a PDF, Excel, as an image, etc., which I can readily paste anywhere and use. The other option is saving this chart and more to the dashboard. There are two kinds of dashboards available here. The personal dashboard, whatever you save to the personal dashboard, you cannot share it with other users in your domain. While if you choose to share a chart on the corporate dashboard, you can give the read-write access of that chart to other users, etc. So if I choose to save on the corporate dashboard, what I need to give is a group within which this dashboard item will fall. So the group name could be sales. I've saved this group. Next, I give a name to the current dashboard item. So something like this. And I save it to the sales group. And I save my view. My chart is saved to the dashboard. If I have to save another item, I can do that. For example, I would like to save this chart to the dashboard. I can do that. All I need to do is go back to the corporate dashboard. This time I might want to save it to the same group, so I will choose sales, give this item another name and save it. Let's go back to the dashboard to have a look at our items just saved. So I do a reload dashboard. So this was my group name and these were my charts. So we see both of them here. We can adjust their sizes, etc. We can choose to see the data and the chart. We can choose to see just the data. I can edit my dashboard items wherein I can change their names, groups, titles, etc. If I readjust these dashboards here, I can save the state of this entire group. I can choose to expand them temporarily and see an expanded version. There's something called embedding these dashboard items. So the way you embed your YouTube videos anywhere, you can embed these dashboard items into an HTML, in a PowerPoint presentation, in a PDF file, Word document. So what you can achieve from embedding is you can create live documents which will update themselves as and when data updates in this application. So we'll go back to the data set, to the Explorer portion, and cover one last method of sharing our analysis output, which is via reports. The reports here in this application are template based, so you can create a template and then go on adding items to that template. Like I've created a template, I can now go to view reports and add items to this template. I can add the current item, can give it a name. I can choose to repeat this item within this report for a particular dimension. For example, I want to see the sales done by these representatives across the different colors. I can choose to see the tables also here. I can either launch the report now or save it and come back later and then launch it. So I go back, I'll add some more things to my report. This time I will add something of an OLAP report. So I'll go back to the same report and I will again say add current item. This time what we have here, I can give it a name. I can again choose to repeat this item for any of the dimensions. In this one, I can choose which all columns do I want to see in my report. Say for example, these are the ones. Something like this. I would want to group it on these items. I would want to see both my units and my total revenue. So now I can save this report. Now I can either launch it directly or I can make certain changes in the launch configuration. So what we can do here is create or launch in one go report for all the 3 regions, or maybe just one of them. So here if I choose LATAM and EMEA, 2 reports will be generated for these 2 regions, and at any point in time I can come back and launch a similar report for the APAC region. These are my filters which I can apply again. So if I choose binders here, the entire report will give me data only regarding the binders. So having done this much, I can now launch my report. Once my report is launched successfully, I can go and download it. If I don't see anything here, I'll just refresh, and now I can see the zip folder here. Zip folder, why? Because I have launched 2 reports in one go. So I'll save it on my desktop, and it will give me an alert once the download is complete. If you're trying to download a large report and it takes time, you need not wait on it. You can continue doing other stuff. Like we mentioned in the beginning, the application is asynchronous. So now I can go back to my dashboard and try to open this report. So here we see we have generated 2 reports in one go. If we have a look at the EMEA report, let's see what we have here. The first item are the charts. So this one has sales for black color, then the table followed by the table. You have sales for red color, and so on. And then you have the summary kind of a thing where we grouped for the representative. So you see the representative here. Then we grouped for the item, the color, the month, and what we see are the units and totals, and we see the subtotals and the grand totals. This report has been run for EMEA. Similarly, we have the other report which is run for the LATAM region. There you go. So it has been run for LATAM. You have similar things here. So this is how you can very quickly come from connecting to the data to analyzing it to actually sharing your analysis output. For any further information that you need on this application, you can go to the video tutorials on the website. If you want to see a live demo of the application, you can send a mail to us at the address given at the bottom. Thank you very much for listening in to us.